What is crack? Dave here. I thought I'd go through ranking KoRn albums worst to best, but it's my personal preference, so my preference would be different to someone else's, and I'm fully aware of the amount of heat I could possibly get for some of my choices in this, but again, my preference. And that's the best thing about it, because someone will have their own list, and it's interesting to see other people's preferences and stuff like that. So let's get into it. But honorable mention first, the acoustic album. I don't actually have that one, but I should get it eventually. And it was pretty interesting, and I do wish they brought a DVD out with it as well, because it's more interesting to watch than listen to. But we'll start. Let's see, the other one I don't have, the very bottom of the list, Path of Totality, the dubstep one. Did not enjoy that at all. I remember when Get Up came out, I remember that being really cool, and I was like, that's interesting. And then Narcissistic Cannibal, that was another good song. Those two, I enjoyed. But then they made a whole album of it, and I was like, okay, they're just messing about for a bit. They'll get back to the good stuff eventually. And then they toured it, and I was like, oh. So like usually, a lot of people that know me know that I'm like one of the biggest KoRn fans ever. But at this point, I just gave up. It was just like, I can't defend it. Sorry. I think there was one other good song on it. I think Bleeding Out was another good one. But other than that, just not for me. And what are you gonna do? Next on the list, KoRn 3, Remember Who You Are. Just, the hype around it was getting big. It was another Ross Robinson album. They're going back to their roots. And the result is just, they weren't the band they were when they did the first two albums. They don't have the same situation they were in, and it just came across like that on this. And it just, you thought it would be nostalgic and it would hit those buttons that I used to hit, but it just didn't. It fell flat. It actually sounded like a really weak demo, and that's that. Sorry lads. Best song of that would have been Oildale, I guess, and Pop a Pill and Trapped Under the Stairs. They were pretty good as far as I remember. Let the Heat Begin. This one. What was it called? Yeah, Take a Look in the Mirror. Sorry. Take a Look in the Mirror. I did not enjoy that one. This is the sixth one. Last one ahead for a while. It sounded like a demo. It was really badly produced, and I was like, what the hell? Like, there is some really cool songs in this, like surprisingly heavy ones, like Breaks Them Off. Like, that's really cool, but I don't know. When KoRn try and go back to their roots, it doesn't work for them. They should just keep doing what they're doing, and just they sound good when they're produced well. This was not produced well, and I don't know. Yeah, even the re-recording of Alive, sorry. Next up, Requiem, at this point in time, is their latest one. It was a COVID album. They wrote it during COVID or whatever. There's some good bits. It didn't sound like KoRn. It sounded like a band covering KoRn or KoRn. It just didn't sound like them to me. Like, there's some really cool songs in it. Like, what's the song on it? Like The Dark Do the Rest, Disconnect is good. Penance of Sorrow is a really good song as well. And there was another song on this that they had bits for when they were doing Paradigm Shift, and I'm glad they made that into a full song. But other than that, there's not really much that sticks to mind with this one. And hopefully next album they'll bring the heat again. Next, Serenity of Suffering. Is that what it's called? Yep. The second album back with Head. It sounds amazing. The guitar tone on it is perfect. Some really good songs in it, but I felt like Jonathan Davis was dialing it in, and I didn't believe him. I don't know. It was a little bit weak, and then Corey Taylor just stood out like a sore thumb on this. It just wasn't that great. They should have put him on a noisier song, I think. But I don't know. Let's see what was a good song. And his Rotting in Vain is good. Black as the Soul, The Hating. Everything Falls Apart. There's some really cool stuff in it. I don't know, just didn't hit. So next, Paradigm Shift. This was long awaited, Return of Head. And I remember catching KoRn the previous summer when he got back with them. It was like that year he was first tour back with them at Download, and it was awesome just seeing him back with the lads again. And the documentary with this, of him getting back with the band and writing the songs and stuff, it's really awesome. I'd recommend just getting this version alone for that. And there's some really cool songs in it, but I don't know, it sounded a little bit overproduced, and it was missing the fire. But it was good to have Head back and have them writing songs. What's my favorite? Punishment Time, really good song. Never played it live. And there's some cool fucking extra tracks in it and stuff. But it was a good start for him to come back, I guess. Controversial opinion, the Untitled album. I have a really cool special edition here with like lots of really cool stuff in it. Making of DVD, always get the making of DVD. I don't know why bands don't do that as much anymore. Everyone hated this when it came out. It was the first one without David, and I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it for some reason. The guitar tone was still on point. I mean, you had that song "Killing." That's a really good song. I Will Protect You. The end of that, it's good. Innocent Bystander is cool too. You know, Evolution. I remember the summer before this came out, they were on tour with Jody Jorston on drums, and it was awesome. I downloaded in the tent, and they played Evolution in the middle of a really kind of old school set, and it made me really excited about this album. So yeah, I don't think this album deserves as much heat as it gets. I mean, it was 2007, like, nobody really knew where everything was going at that stage, and metalcore was just peaking, and you know, KoRn like, we just write a bunch of weird ass songs. I recommend it anyway, just give it a revisit. Next, low down on my list again, Untouchables. It just, again, I'm getting heat for this, I'd say. But this one, like, what was it, 2 million or 5 million or something that they paid for recording this album? It doesn't sound like that much money to me. Its production was, it sounds weak to be honest, and it was the first KoRn album I found myself skipping tracks, you know, which is a bad sign. So, yeah, it wasn't really great. Like, you know, you have Here to Stay, which is still pretty cool. Blame is a great song. You know, a couple of the other singles, but there's not really that sticks to mind really after that. Which is the beginning of the end really of their, say, peak. Controversial opinion, See You on the Other Side. First one without Head. Came out after, it was like their 7th album. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I didn't like it at first. I thought Twisted on Jitster was a bit weird. I was like, oh. But if you dig into the songs, there's some really cool stuff on it. You know, Hypocrites, Politics, you know, Liar. You know, even Seen It All has really cool guitar parts in it. You know, and then, you know, some of the extra tracks in it on the bonus version are really cool. Yeah, I recommend just giving it a go again. It's a really cool album. Next up, The Notting. This is a fucking great album. I really enjoyed this album. I was so delighted when it first came out. I mean, years of KoRn just, you know, being kind of radio friendly at parts and really just, you know, clean. And this comes out, and like, if you hear the first song, Cold, it's just Jonathan doing really aggressive vocals, and you're like, what the hell? I actually had to just check again, am I actually listening to KoRn? But yeah, here it is. Some really great songs in the production is awesome. It's just a shame that shortly after this came out, COVID hit, couldn't see them touring this. And then by the time COVID and everything was over, they already had Requiem out, so yeah, it's a bit sad I'll never see a lot of the cool songs. I mean, I couldn't even pick a favourite song on this. It's that good. Like, it's the first album in a long time where I didn't skip songs, which is, you know, always a good sign for me. Final four, you already know the albums, you just have to guess which order they're in, really. Issues. I remember coming out, I remember being really excited about it, just, I don't know. It's just a little bit, it just sounded like they just used leftovers from Follow the Leader, you know, and it was just more straight up rock really than anything. You know, it still sounds great, it sounds awesome, some really classic songs in this. But yeah, just number 4. 3, Life is Peachy, absolute classic. You know, it's a really good album, but as you'll read in Head's book and they'll say themselves, they rushed this album. I mean, they did this really quickly, and it just sounds like what it is, a lot of bits and pieces so they could get back on tour. You know, they didn't put much thought into a lot of it. It's still a really good album. They have lots of classic stuff on it, you know. It's just, the track listing is very juvenile when you read it though. But yeah, good album. Number 2, first one. I know, a lot of people put the first one as number 1, but just really, it is a classic album, but it's just, you know, it wouldn't be my favourite. I'll get on to the next album, but yeah, it's, you know, it is what it is. It's a great, you know, debut from them, but a lot of these people get stuck on this album and they refuse to move on from it. And it's like, dude, they've so much other good stuff, you need to leave this behind. But again, there's so many classic songs in this. I mean, if you're my age, you grew up with this album, you know, you had this album in school and stuff. It's a really cool album, but yeah, not their best. Number 1, Follow the Leader. Yeah, I would put this number 1 above the first album and second. Just, I don't know, it's the sound of the band really. Okay, here we are, this is our sound, this is what we sound like, and the riffs on this are huge. Production still sounds amazing now. Some great songs, some songs they don't even play live off this. I mean, like, you look at Seed, which is one of my favourite KoRn songs. You know, they don't play that live, but it's just, it's a great gold standard right here. You know, that's all I say. So, thank you for watching, listening to my list. If you are offended by it, put it in the comments and we'll hear your top whatever amount of albums this is. And yeah, thanks. And this is, you know, successful, or if this does well, I'll do other bands, you know, and if anyone has suggestions, send them on and I'll go through them, you know, what my preference would be. But yeah, thanks again, like and subscribe, all that cheesy YouTube, blah blah blah. And I'll get back to doing guitar playthroughs. See you later.